My name is Josh, and welcome to Hide and Seek Archives, a podcast where we talk about things supernatural, cryptid, or unexplained. Welcome, everyone. Today we're going to get into infrasound, and for those who don't know what infrasound is, it is sound waves or sounds that are underneath the human perception, basically, generally 20 hertz. Humans can hear between 20 to 20,000 hertz, and anything under 20 hertz is considered infrasound. And there are a lot of animals out there that can use infrasound to communicate, for example, dolphins, whales, even alligators and crocodiles. Lions and tigers are also known to use infrasound, and it is believed that lions and tigers can also use infrasound to pacify their prey and make it a lot easier to hunt them. And there are theories that Sasquatch can also use infrasound to make people sick. And infrasound is, basically a sound that, like I said before, that is something you can't hear. It can affect your body in certain ways. For example, make you sick, dizzy, increased anxiety, headaches. There's all kinds of symptoms that infrasound has been known to cause. And it is believed that Sasquatch can use this infrasound to do these things. And then there's also some discussion as to infrasound affecting equipment as well. For example, camera traps, cameras. My theory on it is it could be causing a lot of these blurry pictures when people take the pictures. And there are some stories where people get really sick afterwards. So that's just a little bit about infrasound, and I got the opportunity to interview Jeff Caldwell, who had an experience with a Sasquatch and some infrasound, and I hope you guys enjoy. And these things being supposedly nocturnal, they're going to be able to see a lot of lights that we can't see.
Yeah, because you're not moving through the woods in the pitch dark.
No.
You're tripping and falling and running into everything.
Yeah. Yeah, now unless you got a moon that's super bright, you're not going to see nothing.
Yeah.
But,
and especially like in your encounter with the firelight.
Yeah.
Because I had the firelight in one of mine, and I knew it was there, but I couldn't see it. But I'm sure that it could see me very brightly. Yeah,
almost like they knew.
Yeah, looking out into the darkness, I couldn't see nothing.
Yeah. And they don't, and they don't really even need the firelight. They can see you just as fine, so they can stay far enough out where they don't even need the firelight.
Yeah.
Which
the stuff I find is crazy. That you just can't explain. My wife's not a believer, and she's a skeptic.
Uh-huh.
But she's come with me out just driving up fire roads and seeing stuff that you just can't explain.
Yeah. Well,
a human's not up here doing this.
No.
Not where we're at there. When the road hasn't been passable in a month, nobody's coming up there.
Yeah, and
to go and make stuff out of trees to fool people. That's just not.
No, that's
something that's going to happen around here.
Yeah, and they're not doing that to mess with us. I believe there's a reason they're doing it, just maybe to communicate with each other.
Well, a lot of tree breaks where I go, one of the places, a lot of the tree breaks are at a game trail, large game trails, and they go all in one direction. Kind of like if I was marking a trail, being a scout or a Native American person.
Mm-hmm.
Marking trails. Some of it almost looks like that, pointing down to water supplies or different travel routes. I don't know about the X's that I've found, if that's territorial or not.
I don't know.
But the tree breaks all seem to go in one direction. And I've also seen a lot. I've got one. I cannot find the picture because I don't use a slide phone or a smartphone. I have an old school flip phone, man, and I use a tablet. But some trees that were bent over, and then another tree used to stake it to the ground over the game trail like a dome in several places. And I mean, it's just freaky to even see that.
And do you ever come across where you see like X's or breaks that are so big that no human could possibly do it?
Well, I sent you a picture of one.
I did see
X.
that.
There's a large X in one of them, and it's actually measured. I measured it with board feet, and it's 4 board feet, so that would put it about 45 feet long. These 2 pieces, there are no root balls on the ends of them, so they didn't fall over. There's no root there, so they had to have slid on the live tree they're laying on. There's a live branch above it, so if they would have fell, they would have hit that first. And I mean, it's monstrous. You can stand underneath it and just go, wow. And it's a huge X. And then the smaller ones I've found, the thing that's getting me is they're not cut. There's no saw marks. There's no hatchet marks. There's no nothing. It's just ripped. And I can't do that with sassafras trees or, rhododendrons or anything like that. They're ripping them.
And, seeing that kind of stuff, it really shows you how strong they are.
Yeah. I mean, when there's broken sassafras trees that I seen bears climb up, but I can climb up them and get them, and they'll just bend over to the ground and fling back up. They're not going to break 8-9 feet up in the air. Like somebody took 2 pipe wrenches and just twisted them till it snapped.
Yeah.
I've tried and tried and tried to get up on one and snap it, and I can't. And then there's no other limbs around it and things like that. That's just, there's no way. The wind didn't do that.
No. The thing I'm really curious about is your infrasound experience. I've heard some stories. And
well, I never even knew about it. I never even heard of infrasound at all.
Really? Okay.
And and I was told about it from what I was experiencing when I got back to the house and was talking about it with my cousin and several other people. That's when they brought up, have you ever heard of this? So I said, no. He said, well, it seems like what we were just talking about the other night. And I started reading about it, and I was like, man, that's very similar. And then I started reading about the effects of it, and we started looking at the picture, and he said, hey, what's that in the background over there? I can't see it. Is it blurry? Is it a stump or something? And I said, I don't know. So the next day we went back and actually found a print, a big rock removed out of the middle of the game trail with a print in the middle of it where you could make out the toes.
Really?
And where that picture was taken, we took another picture, and there's nothing there. We walked around the place to see if there was a stump or something. There was nothing there. So I think that the infrasound actually messes up cameras.
I have heard about that, yeah.
And that when we get a clearer picture is when they don't know we're there.
Yeah.
Or from the side or from the back. I think that they actually have it's moving through sound waves. So sound waves affect cameras anyway.
Yeah. And that's probably why we get a lot of these blurry pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying that's what it is, but that's a really good theory.
Yep, I think man, because I know something was standing there. I know that something was about to touch me the way it felt.
So what?
I was throwing up.
What exactly happened? Like from the beginning to the end? What were you doing?
Well, I was off this fire road. My wife wasn't feeling good and really needed a break, so I loaded up the 2 children like I usually do, and took off. And we went up on this fire road out in a little town in Botetourt County, and was going through the George Washington Jefferson National Forest right there.
Uh-huh.
And this was a place that I have been and found some tree structures and where that big X is and everything. So we go, me and the kids go down, and they're playing on their tablet and all that kind of stuff, and they fall asleep. It was nap time. Well, I stopped right at this creek, and I got out and was smoking a cigarette, and I seen this game trail going up through the woods. I said, well, I'll walk up here a few feet, see, if I see any tree breaks and stuff while they're sleeping. Because we're way out in the woods. I'm probably 5 miles from the nearest house. And I keep looking back, and I'm not getting too far, and I come on to the top of this hill, and I could see where there was a creek. It crossed a creek. And I started, and man, the biggest thing to me is I'm not scared of anything. I mean, I've been hunting all my life. I've spotlighted bear in the Dismal Swamp where you got to get so close to them you can feel them breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I did several years in a high-level prison. I mean, I'm not scared of anything. And at that moment, I started having a bad headache. I felt like I was being watched. My stomach felt like it was just turning over and over, like my guts were getting ready to fall out, and I needed to go to a toilet.
And
the anxiety was so high. I thought that if I took another step, that I might not see my family again. Is how bad it was.
And was this before you took the picture or after?
It was right after I took the picture is when I started having a bad headache.
Okay.
Because I had taken a picture of the size of the game trail because I didn't want to go any further.
Uh-huh.
Because the kids were back down the hill. And I was like, well, I'm not going to go any further. I won't be able to see the truck. So I just took a picture to show my cousin, hey, man, this game trail's up here. This is awesome. We need to explore this. And I started getting sick. I mean, I was ill. I got back in the truck. I was throwing up outside the truck. I called my wife and told her I wasn't feeling good. I was heading home. So didn't really know what was going on. And, man, it carried with me. I had the worst headache I've ever had for probably 4 hours. And that's when I got home and looked at the pictures, and it looked like something was beside that tree.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
and there's even, I can't explain it, but in that picture to the left, there's even an orb in broad daylight that's not there the very next day.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that has to do because I don't really believe in that stuff, but it's there.
What was in the middle of the trail?
What do you mean?
And the second picture you sent me, what was in the middle of it?
What was in the middle of it? There's a log that lays right there. It's a dead white log.
Okay. Because it
lays right there.
And the second picture almost looks like rocks stacked on top of each other right in the middle of the trail.
Let me see here. Oh, out in the middle?
Yes.
Yeah, see, that's the same piece of wood that's laying in the middle on the one on the left.
Okay.
It's just brighter sunlight.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
But in that left picture, there's actually an orb sitting there.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I'll have to check that out later.
And to the right, behind that tree, there is something black there, and it's not there in the other picture.
Yeah, I did see that.
And every time I even go back up there, man, I get the freaking chills now. Because I know, man, that feeling was awful.
So it sounds like it did not want you taking pictures.
I think so, too. I was getting too close or something.
Maybe it had some young or something nearby or something.
Could be.
And
I hadn't thought about that.
And you have been back up that way?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I go up there all the time. Me and my wife just actually drove up there just a few weeks ago. We went up there and made sure. That's when I found a couple of fresh tree breaks that day, right in that area. I didn't get out and go up through the trails or nothing.
Yeah. And besides that one print, have you found any others?
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
Do you are they castable, or did you just take pictures?
No, they're usually too old, and I just take pictures.
Okay.
They've been there for a while. By the time I get up there with the kids and work, man, if I get to go out and doing all that, I'm lucky.
Yeah. And do you ever camp out that way, or is it mostly just kind of?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, right up. That's what's been really funny about it, because right in that area, I've been camping there all my life, and over the hill, there's some old Civil War spec mines, some iron mines, and they're still open. They're up in the National Forest. Not too many people know about them, and you can go up there and actually go in them and all that. And it's really old, and it's infested with bear, but that's the only animal you'll see. I've been hunting there my whole life. I've never seen a deer. I've never seen a squirrel. I mean, it's just empty of wildlife to be the national forest.
Uh-huh.
But there's always tree breaks and stuff going everywhere.
And
I never put two and two together until I went camping about a mile away on the other side of the mountain from where I had the Infrasound. When I went camping there with my daughter in 2011, I had something come towards the camp, very loud, very big. Well, it was awful.
Oh, tell me about that. I'd like to hear about that.
Me and my daughter and my roommate's daughter went camping. My daughter loves to go backpacking, so we went up into the National Forest right on the edge in Botetourt County, right where the George Washington Jefferson National Forest start. And we went up there on the Appalachian Trail and then went off trail to find a little ridge that we could cook, camp on, and watch the sun go down and come up in the morning, all that good stuff. And I make dinner, and they end up going to bed, and I sit there till about 1 o'clock, 1:15, and I restoked the fire and got it going real big for the night. And then I sat down in the tent watching the fire, just legs half out and body in. And all of a sudden, the loudest yell I've ever heard in my life. I spilt my Jack Daniels that I had just cracked open. I finally got to crack my pint of Jack Daniels, and I couldn't pick it up. It emptied on the ground because it wouldn't stop. It was loud and coming down the hill through the leaves that are about 2 feet deep this time of year. And so nothing's being, if it was a cat, it wouldn't make no noise coming to attack or something. It'd be a lot more quieter. This thing was huge, and you could tell that it didn't have 4 feet. The way that something gallops coming that fast, you could hear the two paws hit and in the rear, like a dog. This was big, like a human being coming down the hillside, screaming. The kids wake up. It's still coming closer and closer. Finally, I get my bearings together and jump out of the tent and stand up and start yelling. Just inaudible stuff, just go real loud. And it's still coming, screaming. I finally grab a log out of the fire and threw it in that direction. And you could hear it take off up the hill the same way it came down. And it sounded like a cheerleader with a knife in her back. That's about the only way I can describe it. It was so loud, and it wasn't a low-pitched scream.
It was one of those you could kind of feel in your chest?
Oh, man, it shook everything. It shook the kids awake. They were freaked out. I mean, my daughter looked at me and said, "What was that?" I said, "Honey, I do not know. I've been in these woods all my life. There's nothing I know of in these woods that sounds like that."
How long did the scream go on for?
It probably went on coming down the hill because it started a good ways away and come down. It probably lasted 30 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Coming down and then leaving. And it was awful. I was scared out of my wits. I didn't know what it was.
And if you could describe the scream, how would you best describe that?
If my wife went to just yell, ah, real loud over and over again at a higher pitched tone,
mm-hmm.
like she was being murdered. I mean, it was, and I say a cheerleader because it was like, rah, 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 real loud,
uh-huh.
you know, and continuous, but it was really high pitched, almost like a woman yelling. And I mean, it vibrated. By the time it got that close, I didn't know what in the world it was or what to do. Because if it would have broke that campfire light, I don't know what in the world I'd have done. Because it had to be huge, the way it sounded.
Man, and it sounds like it might have had a nice pair of lungs on it, too, for Joe to go on for that long.
I think it was mad. I think it was mad because of where we were. And I had just built that fire back up, flaming. Because, I mean, I had just built it up to where it was 4 or 5 feet high, burning off new wood.
Did y'all end up leaving, or did y'all stay?
No. We stayed there. We stayed there and never heard it again. Because I stayed awake.
I don't
but we
know.
were so far up in the woods to take two. And the way I figured it, as big as it was, I would hear it coming again.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I wonder why.
I gathered a few rocks and put it beside the tent. I had to hatch it out.
I wonder why it was so mad that you were there.
I don't know. I don't know, because the Appalachian Trail is close.
Uh-huh.
The only thing I can figure was about the fire.
Man, that's really interesting. It's
like it was mad because of how big I built that fire.
Uh-huh.
Which makes a little bit of sense, because I don't think they would like fire.
No, I don't think they do either.
He was probably thinking, man, this guy done built that fire up and burned my woods down.
Yeah.
And I had to go off over into the woods and get the log. It had coals all over it. When I threw it, it sent stuff flying. But I didn't know what else to do. It was still coming, no matter what I yelled.
And you said it continued screaming as it was leaving?
It continued screaming as it was leaving.
And did it just kind of fade away, or did it just stop?
It stopped once it got back up to about where it began, like where it reached the top of the hill. To where it was so far away, it was getting faint, and then it just stopped. So I would say it probably continued for a couple 100 yards.
Wow, and it seemed to be moving pretty fast.
Oh, yeah, moving very fast. The way it was coming down that hill was quick.
Kind of just crashing through the woods.
Crashing through the leaves. Like almost like a cow rolling down the hillside. I mean, it was terrible.
And how close do you think it got?
I think it got within 15 feet.
Wow.
Because the hill come right down to the back of our tent. And it was still coming down the hill, but it was right there. I mean, it was right there. Because I was actually waiting to be able to see it from the campfire light. So it was right outside of the campfire light.
Yeah, something coming down that fast, I would be expecting it to come out.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like it never stopped. It kept running, and then it turned and went back up. Like it never stopped running. Kicking the leaves.
Kind of like it took a U-turn.
Yeah. If it did stop, it was very brief, and it was still kicking leaves and making a ruckus while it was standing there.
And after that, did you hear any other animals? Was it pretty dead?
No other animals. and I didn't see any animals coming in. Like I said, I never do in that area.
Yeah, and I feel like that's pretty typical with sightings that I've noticed. No, it's pretty quiet. It's usually pretty quiet in certain areas before things happen, or after even.
Yeah, I mean, even when I go squirrel hunting up there, we've never seen anything. We have sat there for hours and never hear anything.
No
deer hunt up there and never see the first deer. I think the only thing I've ever shot up there was a grouse and a rabbit.
And is this the only thing that's ever happened, or has anything else happened to you?
We've me and my cousin that I'm always out there with. He's an EMT and teaches search and rescue for Virginia Military Institute (VMI). And we were fishing and had a rock thrown out into the creek, wading the creek for a few miles, and had one fly out of the woods and hit. But we couldn't never see anything. We didn't ever hear anything. But that's the only experiences I've ever had. Not that I ain't trying.
Yeah.
As soon as these kids grow up, I can stay out in the woods.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drag this little redneck boy with me.
And do you typically go by yourself, or do you just always bring the kids?
I always got my kids with me, or
Okay.
I'm with somebody else, my cousin.
Okay. Yeah.
After that experience, I'm not going up there by myself.
No, I understand, and
that shook me up. There's nothing I could have done. I mean, I don't even think I could have done anything if I had a firearm on me. The way it made me feel.
Yeah.
And if one of them would have stepped out from behind that tree, I'd have soiled myself. See something that looks like a great ape walking, in poplar trees and oak trees, I'd have lost it.
And do you know if you have any mysterious disappearances around that area that you know about?
I don't, and I've been getting into the 411 stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I have not done any research. I know that there were sightings back, those miners from the Pulaski Mine Company. They had reported hearing some screams and things like that. But other than that, no. Nobody around there has really ever heard anything except screams.
Okay.
And I don't know of any disappearances.
Yeah, I know there's missing 411 cases all over, but I'm not sure about your area.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I know that there's some people that go missing every once in a while, but I don't never really follow up on them.
Yeah.
I'm just now starting to get into that 411 part of it.
Well, a good documentary to watch, I don't know if you haven't seen it already, is Missing 411: The Hunted.
I have not seen The Hunted yet.
Oh, it is very good. I highly recommend it. Because if it is happening in that area, you definitely want to be careful. That's one of the reasons I bring it up, because it sounds like these things aren't very happy to have people around.
Yeah, I don't think they are in that area. I don't, and that's what I wonder about that big X in those areas, because there's a church camp that's down that area, and I don't know. It's just very weird up there. It's a weird feeling. It's a weird everything. The woods look weird. The creek. I mean, it's plenty of water, plenty of berries, plenty of food.
How long did you? I meant to ask. How long did you feel sick for?
I felt sick for about 4 hours. Morning, honey. It was a few hours after I got home. And the drive, about 4 hours.
And when you felt better, was it kind of instant or was it gradual?
Well, I went to sleep.
Oh, okay.
That's me getting home and eating dinner and kicking back and trying to relax, taking a couple BCs, and then went to sleep.
Uh-huh.
I woke up the next morning, I felt fine.
Okay.
Scared shitless, but I felt fine.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing that's ever scared me in my life. To be honest with you.
Yeah, because it's something that's almost out of your control. And anything that's not in your control can be pretty scary.
Yeah, and I'm not scared to die. That's the bad thing.
Yeah.
That's what made it messed up. There's nothing anybody can do to me. This was beyond that.
It's almost like you were like suffering almost.
Yeah. Like you're suffering. I mean, you see your life flash before your eyes right there, and you don't even know why. And it makes it even weirder. And I didn't know what it was, and it freaked me out. And I mean, my cousin being a medic, when I hit the truck, I started calling him about it. And that's what he said. He said, "Well, I've heard about this." He said, "It's just a theory." And he said, "Check this out," and sent me some information on it about the U.S. military.
Uh-huh.
Where somebody was talking about, would Sasquatch be able to use this? Because lions use it, gorillas use it, elephants,
and alligators and crocodiles can actually use it for miles and miles to communicate.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and whales, I mean.
Yep. So I don't see why these things couldn't do it either. And, especially being out in the woods like that, they learn how to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like those scientists say, we only use a certain amount of our brain.
Yeah.
What if these things could just use a little bit more of it and do things? I mean, no telling what the brain and the mind can do.
No, and especially when you're out in the woods like that, you do end up using a lot more of your brain than you do just sitting at home watching Netflix or whatever.
Yeah, your senses are definitely working a little more.
Yep. And over years and years, that your body I'm assuming they adapted to certain things and maybe learned how to do this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it's just a theory. It's not known for certain.
Yeah. I mean, I just can't figure out why I got to feeling that way. I don't have headaches. I don't get afraid like that. Like, even if something's getting ready to touch me or something, I'm not going to freak out.
Yeah.
I'm not one to panic, I guess. Even in water, I mean, I do white water and all kind. I'm not going to panic over anything.
Mm-hmm.
Stay calm, you're going to live, and
exactly.
This was not a situation like that. I was wigged out.
And you think maybe the infrasound kind of made your anxiety go up?
Oh yeah, I think my blood pressure went up. I think everything did.
And not that you were scared, that it just physically it physically affected you in a way to where it made you scared.
Yeah, I think that it rose exactly. I don't think it was scaring me, physically like I was being scared.
Yeah,
it was my anxiety was through the roof, like going to have a panic attack.
Yeah,
kind of anxiety. Almost like, I'll tell you, it's almost like sitting on a train track and a train getting ready to hit you and you can't get up. That kind of feeling.
Almost like you could have been paralyzed.
Yeah. It was crazy.
And I've actually interviewed somebody on one of the episodes where he locked eyes with one, and it kind of drew him in, and it scared him.
It was paralyzed.
Yeah, it scared him, and he didn't know why, and he felt like he was like, the best way he could explain it is that he was one with it, and
that should explain some of that. And
I'm wondering if the infrasound might have had something to do with that. I
definitely believe that about the photographs. I mean, I know there's hoaxes out there.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that aren't hoaxes, that they're seeing something.
But no, I was looking at the picture. You can definitely see something, and it is black.
Yeah,
blacker.
And it's not there.
Blacker than something should be out in the woods.
Right. I mean, all the stumps around everywhere else are brown. This thing is black. And it's not there in the other picture. And I went up and we walked all the way around trying to see if there was anything that could get in line with it, if we were standing at a different location. So I even went back a little bit so you could see more behind the tree and took the next shot. And it's not there. And all my friends think I'm crazy, man, but I'm telling you, it's...
No,
I felt like I was being watched, and there it is.
That's,
It's changed everything I think about it.
Especially like you said, you were a scout and you love being out in the woods. You don't just make up a feeling of being watched. That
Right.
when you actually feel that, you know it.
Right.
You know
And
something's watching you.
what's the craziest thing for me is I track animals. We hunt, we scout animals and know where they're walking. And for it to be there and me not know it, like actually be able to see it or not realize it's there, that's pretty quiet and pretty good. Because I don't know if a human could do that.
Mm-hmm.
I would know somebody was there. Just stepping on a leaf would,
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that presence was known. I mean, it wasn't a presence there, but it's like something's getting ready to grab you by the back of the neck.
Uh-huh.
It was crazy, man. It was crazy. It burned in my head for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
It's a suit, son.
And do you ever try to go out there and look around?
I do. Yeah, like I said, me and my cousin Freddie, we went back the next day, but we haven't been back since. Me and my wife went up there, but I didn't get out of the car and go walking up there. Now, my cousin has been up there hunting and been up that game trail hunting since then, and has told me that there's a whole lot of tree breaks. There's missing rocks along the path where the indention of the rock is there, but the rock's not.
Uh-huh.
And you can't find it anywhere. And it'd be a good size rock, something that's 20, 30 pounds, just a 2 or 3 inch indention in the ground where something was there. He said, they've heard some whoops and things like that, but never seen anything too crazy.
Yeah.
And never had any weird feelings. But they're really loud too.
Yeah.
Him and my cousin that goes with him. I got 2 cousins, and they go hunting all the time. But I think that one of them, he never has any luck because I think the way he smells. Not very quiet,
Yeah.
Not just traipsing through the woods. That's why they don't kill anything. I mean, just out there. Needs to burn his shoes kind of guy.
Okay.
Just reeks, so nothing's coming around him. I think I just walked up on it.
Yeah.
And was just quietly out there minding my business, walking like I normally walk in the woods, which I'm not heavy-footed walking in the woods. From years of hunting and being out there, I want to see wildlife. So I kind of creep up through stuff.
So it sounds like you might have surprised it a little bit.
Sure. Could have been.
And when you had the one coming screaming at you, did you ever look to see if there were any breaks or footprints?
No, I had no idea, and I have not been back up there since. It's a good ways up there, and like I said, we had 2 kids back to back, man. Since all this, I have not been able to get back up there.
Okay.
And I'd love to, and go up where we camped at and go up that ridge and see what's up top there. If there's any kind of structures, any kind of breaks, anything like that. But because it's a long hike, it's a good hike up in there.
How far in?
It's about 5 miles.
Oh wow, so pretty good.
Yeah, it's about 5 miles up there on the Appalachian Trail, and then off the trail, several hundred yards. Can look out over the city of Roanoke and Bedford County. It's way up there. It's a little place called Full Heart Knob on the Appalachian Trail. It's about 2,000 feet in elevation up there. And it's the beginning of the George Washington Jefferson National Forest.
Okay.
In that area, right on the border. Which makes it even more crazy.
Yeah. There's got to be somebody else that's had some experiences like
I know.
that.
Yeah, and it's all farmland around there. So there's there's not really many houses. But I have not heard of anybody, the BFRO sighting website has some sightings right over the mountain from that's been recorded. just like right on the other side of the mountain, but never none on that side.
Okay.
Which is right along the Interstate 81 corridor and Blue Ridge Parkway. Matter of fact, the Blue Ridge Parkway is right on the top of that mountain. It rides right along that in Skyline Drive.
Okay. But, yeah, I really do appreciate you coming on and telling me about, everything that happened.
Oh, man, it's been awesome talking to you about it. I've been looking forward to it all night.
Well, I do appreciate it, and I was looking forward to myself. Like I said, I've never talked to anybody who's actually had any experience with the infrasound. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And I wanted to give another thank you to Jeff Caldwell for taking the time to talk with me today. And if you'd like to be on Hide and Seek Archives, you can email me at hideandseekarchives@gmail.com. I hope you all have a great week, and I'll talk to you all next Tuesday.
Started to fall, and where were you? How could I know you were falling too? Grabbing the wind, cutting my skin, but it's hard because I'm falling. Tell me why I'm falling. Oh, life's cold.